everyone, and welcome back to Master Sight. Today I have Game 5 of Nerdhammer GT, where I face off against Adam Ortyl and his Trident Realms. So going into the game, we are 2-2, sitting kind of upper half, I think now. Even with a 2-2 record, I think we're on table 6, which is pretty darn good, pretty lucky, something like that. So, but we get to face off against some dirty Trident Realms players for the second game on day 2. So yeah, but I'm excited about it. Adam is a very good player. He won the Best of the Rest this year at the U.S. Masters. So he definitely knows what he's doing with his Trident Realms, and he has a slightly different take than Joe did in our previous game. So let's go ahead, dive into his list, and we'll cover the game. So Adam is taking 3 troops of Thule, 3 regiments of River Guard, all of them with the javelins. He has 2 hordes of Dam Busters. He has a Kraken with the Tidebringer upgrade, which gives Aura Thunderous Charge for deep ones, which are the Thules and the Kraken. And it also gives Inspiring for the Kraken. The Thule Aquamage with Rising Tides for Aura Wild Charge 1 and Barkskin 5. He then has a Riverguard Sentinel with the Dark Onyxy Ring, which gives it regeneration the first time regen 5 up the first time it would take wounds. He has the Trident King with the same upgrade as Joe did, the Rally 2 for Dam Busters. And then he has 2 of the Riverguard Dam Buster Sentinels, both with Pond Warden upgrades, which give him the +1 Nerve and Iron Resolve. So 14 drops, 23 unit strength. Yeah, solid list. I personally am a big fan of Thule and the Kraken, so definitely love to see that. But yeah, he's got a lot of heavy, hard hitting stuff, but a lot of it's impacted by the phalanx again. So the River Guard, they do better shooting, it feels like, than they do in combat anyway. But River Guard fly, Dam Busters fly, Kraken and the Thule will have Thunderous Charge from the Aura. The Sentinel and the Dam Busters, Sentinels all fly. The only thing that's not going to get obstructed by Phalanx is, well, the Trident King, but he also has Thunder too. So um, the Kraken is probably the best bet because Crush 2, he doesn't need the Thunder. So yeah, overall, I think it's a pretty good matchup for the Ratkin, but the Frogs, he's got quite a bit of shooting to worry about here as well. So yeah, let's go ahead, hop into the game here. So we are playing Control for our final game. And I didn't start taking pictures until after I moved, so lucky for me, I got first turn. Um, so I'll go over the terrain real quick here, but impassable on the far left and the center right. We got the height 1 field, behind which is an obstacle. We have the flat pond. The other obstacle is right here. Then we have 2 forests, one top left, one exact center, and then the hills are bottom left and top right. Yeah. So deployment wise, I deployed majority on a left-hand denied flank. There are some things that can get around the building on the left-hand side, but I'm planning on playing defense for most of that and then just controlling in between these 2 impassable pieces. The 24-inch line, is roughly like cutting this building in half on the left and roughly up to about just outside of this forest over here. So usually, I think the best goal or objective for this game is to play for just four of the quadrants. So right now, I'm playing for the left two and the center two. Um, and then make sure middle to late game you have options. So sticking around the center of the board right here is probably the best because then you can jump in any one of the four. So with this, Adam won the roll for first turn, but he allowed me to go first because he understands the importance of control and going second. So, bottom of the turn for control is one of the few scenarios where that matters most. Um, and it also works with Adam's army where he has a lot of short range shooting. So, he kind of wants me to get closer anyway before his stuff has any effectiveness. Um, so yeah, that's kind of the thought process for him around it. The only things he has to really worry about is the claw shots for long range shooting, um, and yeah, they don't have great targets for the first turn, so he was fine with that. As for Adam's deployment, or my deployment, I guess we should go over. So I deployed pretty heavily on the left because Adam was putting quite a bit of stuff behind the forest and whatnot over here. And then I also had stuff in the center. Adam has a huge gap in his line here. So I put both brutes out on the left, the Blightstaff Broodmother, a regiment of warriors. These are the brew of strength shock troops, I want to say. Yeah, that sounds right. Brew strength. Yes, brew strength. Maybe. I forget. Anyway, Mother Kryza here, the other regiment of warriors. These, I believe, are the sharpness in the exact center. These were the J boots. And then we have Broodmother here, Tangle, and all three claw shots. Adam has, it's going to be tough to see, but he has one of his Pawn Wardens. He has all three regiments of River Guard. He has the Trident King. He has the individual, the Sentinel, and he has a horde of Dam Busters all up here. He then has a large blank area, and then he put two troops of Thule, the Kraken, and the Aquamage. Another troop of Thule, the other Dambuster Sentinel, and the other horde of Dambusters. So he was playing a omit center strategy, go heavy left, go heavy right, probably try to do a pincer or win the flanks and play on the outskirts basically. So yeah, and my movement was pretty aggressive on turn one, especially on the left hand side. My thought was that between this building and the forest, I should be able to pin back his army quite aggressively here. Um, I knew he was going to shoot me, but I didn't actually take time to look at angles and if he was going to be able to get all of his shots in and whatnot. I was anticipating or kind of expecting that he was going to have some of those shots with cover, but yeah, we'll see what he does there. And then in the center and the right, I just moved up 6 inches. I did shoot at the Kraken for turn one because that was one of my only targets. And since it's, no cover because it's Titan, I did get lucky. I think I put 6 wounds on him and got a waiver. So, you know what? We'll take lucky at this point. Yeah, so here's Adam trying to figure out his movement for turn one. And then on the right hand side, he just pushed up like this. And because his Kraken was wavered, he didn't want to put Thule up on the hill to just get shot as well. So, yeah, I believe I also mind fogged the Kraken this last turn, so that helped with the waiver. But this is how his movement ended up, and you'll see over here he was able to get all three regiments with no cover. This one here, well, you'll see, my horde's gone. What happened? Uh, this unit here was able to squeeze their line of sight just through there to see majority of my unit. And then the Trident King's nose is in the forest, and he can shoot over top. So, and then even his little Sentinel guy has leaper, so he can throw his javelins over the top as well. So yeah, I'll be honest, I wasn't expecting this horde to die. Um, it didn't even cross my mind to pop plague pots for turn one. Uh, so let's do the math. I wasn't calculating that he would have clear shots on everything, but he had 45 shots with three regiments, all hitting on fours, all wounding on threes with vicious because of the aura from the Sentinel. So, um, and of course, yeah, it's tough to add in, but you got to add in the command dice with a reroll to hit here, a reroll to wound there, so on, so on. So, um, let's just say so 46 attacks round up. So he has 23 hits, threes with vicious. He's averaging what is that? 16, so 17 wounds before vicious. We'll add in another three. So yeah, I guess he's averaging 18, 19 wounds. And then the Trident King, as long as he does a wound, he applies shattering. So yeah, it's some nasty focus fire. He took out the horde, and I just wasn't anticipating that. Wasn't expecting it. I was thinking that I'd probably be around like 12 to 15 wounds maybe, and needed a decent number to waver, but it was a lot more damage than I was expecting. So here we go. We lose a horde right out the gate. Um, yeah. So on my turn, well, there's the horde gone. So this is my turn two. Yeah, I ended up charging in, and then I decided that we were going to do some shooting. So all three of these weapons teams are just in range of this regiment here. I took this the brutes from the left here into the flank of this one, and Mother Chrysler into the front. Bunch of Cloak of Death. Since I lost one horde, I might as well bring another one in. So this horde's moving over. I made sure we're out of line of sight or charge range from anything over here. Tangle just put his nose in so that way he can do some weakness. I think I weakened the Dam Busters this turn, but yeah. And then on the right, we're just moving up to be able to utilize this impassable as an anchor point for this horde. And the brood mother's looking out towards the right to deter anybody from coming around. She's not actually going to do anything, but you know what? If he pops his head out, he's going to probably eat shots versus a charge. So yeah. And that's how we look. Shooting actually went very well for us this turn. So on the left, we got a waiver on this regiment of River Guard. Put them up to 9 wounds total. Definitely take that. And then on the right, we also got a waiver after doing 4 wounds to these Dam Busters. So you know what? We're just lucky, I guess. Better lucky than good. Um, because one big help was he was sitting on top of the fence, and this is only height 1 here, so I had, I believe, 2 units with clear shots onto them, and 1 unit had cover shooting around the building. So yeah, and a big reason I switched targets over here is because he regen 4 on a Kraken. It's not going to be likely that I do anything. He put a barkskin token on it too, so um, yeah. it's just difficult. There's no need to put any more shots into that. It was just the only thing I could shoot turn one, so I did. Over on the left, the brute in the flank and brood mother or mother Kryza in the front was able to actually pick up that regiment. I rolled extremely good on the nerve tests here. A cloak of death and a brutal from the brute definitely helps out, but these are 14 16s. They are defense 4, so um, yeah, lucky. But we position in such a way where dam busters have a flank on the brute if they want it. Um, yeah, my thought was if the brute looks to keep the dam busters in the front, then they're just gonna walk away or go somewhere else, and then the brute's looking at nothing. So I'd rather keep all. If he charges the brute, he's in the front of everything else. So everything's looking at him still, and I'd rather have stuff looking at him. So yeah, this is how it looks after turn two, and then Adam's turn, bottom turn two here. So he moves the Pond Warden around. He moves the River Guard unit around. They can get some shots on the left claw shot over there. His individual hopped the line, no pun intended, and sitting here, he can get some shots onto the hill as well. Yeah, his regiment's just kind of stuck there, and he moved the Trident King behind the building here, but looking towards the middle, and he took the flank here. On the right, he backed up these guys a little bit. He jumped over. Like I said, I wasn't really gonna be charging him anyway. It was more just a what the hell, nothing else to do situation. He did charge a single troop of Thule, the one from the right over here, into these guys, just for chaffing purposes mostly. Maybe start getting a little bit of damage on him, but he's starting to move over towards the left-hand flank as well with the Kraken and another Thule. So yeah, uh, it doesn't. I should have taken this picture. His shooting was pretty decent. He got, I believe, like 4 barkskin tokens on this troop here, which made them uh, very uneasy to move because they are stealthy as well. I believe he did waver the one he was shooting at over here, the weapons team. Yeah, and then he killed the brute with combat. So, my turn. This is how it looks after movement. So, on the left here, this is after combats even, I think. So yeah, so this was the wavered unit. I moved these two up so the Pond Warden couldn't see them. This guy couldn't get out of the Pond Warden's line of sight because of the waver, so we were shooting at the frogs over here, put them up to 5 wounds. I believe I drained life into the little frog, did a wound, and got a lucky waver this turn. We'll take it. Everybody's just hiding from the Trident King, who is behind this building here. Then the horde charged into the regiment that was at 9 wounds, more or less for positioning purposes. I don't want them to, if I moved them over just 6 inches, I was getting flank charged. So I charged over so that way we can get into the correct position here. Yep. And then in the center, I moved Tangle in such a way where I'm casting weakness here. I actually jumped the line with the Brood Mother, so she's in front here so that she can cast Drain Life onto this Thule unit. And then all of the claw shots actually unloaded into the Thule as well to remove the Barkskin tokens, and then the Drain Life went in. My main thought was I wanted to get a waiver on this unit and kill this unit so that this horde of shock troops was completely free for the next turn. But failed on both fronts. This unit's not wavered, and this unit is. I didn't actually kill the Thule troop, which, the shock troop should be doing like 9 wounds on average. I only did 6. The Thule are uninspired, so it is what it is. So realistic. I mean, I probably should have just drain lifed into them with the Broodmother over the top. Instead, I put the Broodmother out front to take a charge for this next turn, which isn't the end of the world. I mean, she should be able to take a charge. She's defense 5 and everything. But yeah, we weakened this Pond Warden as well. So yeah, so on to bottom of 3. Adam decides to just kind of position over here, I believe, more than anything. Nope, I lied. He charged stuff. So yeah, let's get some close up. So he charges here, he charges here. He countercharges this brute, which I forgot to mention. Kryza and a brute double charged into these frogs up here. They did a little bit of damage. I believe he's up to 4. Yeah. He had been using the command to barkskin them pretty frequently, or heal them and barkskin other things. So, um, it's a very good ability for sure. And then he just repositioned the Trident King so that he has better shooting options over here. Move the Thule forward from the center. The Kraken also moved forward to be in position where the Thule that came off the hill can have Thunderous Charge from him as well. So it's Thunder 2. So hitting on 3s, wounding on 3s against the Broodmother with 15 attacks. 10 hits, 6 or 7 wounds. She's a 13-15 being rallied once right now, so we should be fine. Moving forward over here and charging a claw shot. Also bark skinning with his Aqua Mage. Anytime you see these dice here, that's bark skin. But he rolled bad for Barkskin on a defense 3 unit, but he didn't roll bad for the combat. I think he hit 14 out of 15 attacks here, and he did like 10 or 12 wounds to the Broodmother and picked it up in one go, which I was not expecting at all. That is annoying to say the least. He did pick up the weapon team, which was already injured. That's expected, absolutely. He did not pick this one up, which wasn't expected. They're only inspired, they're not even rallied. He did get a waiver on it. So, yeah, we'll take that. But you know what we'll really take is take a look at the bottom down here. He charged me last turn. There's no wound markers there. He did not. He was weakened, but it turned out the weakness didn't matter. He rolled 1 successful hit out of the 5, and then rolled a 1 to wound. Yeah, that was awful. And what's especially bad is that I was able to. I'm not right on the back of the board, so I was able to do a withdraw, and I do have line of sight to shoot at these guys over here who have 4 wounds on them, which are which have always been my priority with these claw shots. I'm not shooting at this little guy. I'm shooting at these guys because they're unit strength 3, and yeah, they hit harder. So yeah, we are. We get a bad swing and then a good swing, and it just went kind of back and forth like that. Dice are funny. So this is my turn 4. I end up backing up with the weapon team here, put the other one in front, so that way, if I'm hoping to waiver this unit. If I don't waiver it, then he can only charge the fresh one, which is still in inspiring range. I do have, what else do I have here? I charged here. So up here, I had to do some shenanigans, movement stuff. So I ended up using command dice to allow this brute to back up his full distance. Because even though it says he only has 1 wound here, he got wavered last turn, which was annoying. And so, in order to get this horde in, past the individual, past the Trident King, all that stuff, I had to back him out. Mother Kryza turned, pivot, turn, pivot. So these Thule are going to get shot at. And my goal is here to kill this Dam Buster unit, which is going to be tough because we are hindered. Um, and they are rallied 2 from the Trident King right now. So they're a 17-19, but have 4 wounds on them and a Barkskin token. So effectively only have 3 wounds on them here. But the Barkskin token will go away with Cloak of Death. So 4 wounds. Yeah. So they're effectively a 13-15 at this point. I'm hindered, but this is Brew Sharpness. So we're hitting on 4s, wounding on 4s. So 7. So it's not looking great. We need like a 7 on averages to kill him. But my thought or my saving grace here is hopefully we get a waiver. The shooting here, Blight Staff plus Lightning Bolt into this Troop of Thule. They're a low nerve, so I'm hoping that I get a waiver there as well to prevent them from charging in. And this is a fresh unit. I believe he's in the flank here, but it'll be hindered. He can use this stuff for Pathfinder though. So I'm hoping for waivers at this point. It's just the best option I had, unfortunately. So, but if somehow it goes our way, we are in excellent position. We likely, walk away with the game from there. Over here, I decide to maneuver Tangle in such a way that I can get a fireball off on this troop. My thought being, if I can kill this unit and if I potentially kill that unit, then I'm completely free. If I waiver that unit, then I might be able to reform in such a way, like sidestepping, to where this troop won't block me the following turn, and I can actually use the horde to contribute. Otherwise, as it is right now, I'm going to be stuck for 2 turns there, and it is turn 4, so they won't do anything for the rest of the game, basically. So shooting is saving my ass, that's for sure. It saves me over here. I shoot off this regiment. It saves me over here. I shoot off the horde of dam busters. I only had 1 clean shot and 2 cover shots with my claw shots here, and they were only at 4 wounds. They weren't inspired, so I just spiked a good nerve roll. And then shooting also had me pick off the other troop at Thule here. So, excellent shooting turn. The only thing we didn't do is our master plan up here. We did 4 wounds, but we couldn't get the waiver. We needed a 6 or 7 to waiver, 8 twice to kill because Kraken inspires. We did not get it. So I can't really complain. I got 2 units that I probably shouldn't have. Hell, 3 units I probably shouldn't have. I was just going for waivers and lucky shots from there. But also the ones on the far left and the far right, both of those were uninspired, so just takes 1 good nerve roll. Yeah, so we're in a ideal spot by picking up 3 units this turn on turn 4 with shooting. And our shooting isn't really threatened. He has, he's not going to miss every turn of the game down here. But yeah, we're hoping that we can just keep up, just pick up those strength units, and have something left at the end, and control's an easy game to win. So bottom 4 for Adam. We got Trident King doing nimble shenanigans, hitting the flank here. His little froggy character, who was wavered last turn, is no longer this turn. He charged the 5 wound unit, countercharged here. The Dam Busters did not even get wavered. They're up to 10 wounds. So we did 6. That was right on the averages that we were expecting. So I think 7 was our average. But yeah, 10 wounds. They were 17-19, so not that likely to waver. So that's fine. But means that we're eating a troop of Thule in the rear, which is definitely not where we want to be, especially when the Kraken's here, giving them Thunderous Charge as well. Kraken's going against the Brute for goodiness. And yeah. Then in the center, though, in combat we did pick up that troop of Thule, and since we had killed the other one with shooting, we were just kind of in this position, and now everything ran over to the left. So we, unit strength wise, I had said at the beginning of the game we were playing for those four table quarters on the two on the left and two in the center. Well, we won the center and we won the right. This little pawn warden is the only thing that's here, so we can easily score the right hand side and likely the center as well, which is absolutely the priority, being worth 2 points. So he did kill the weapons team. He put a few wounds here and there. The Trident King, who was not Pathfinder this turn, ended up only doing 6 wounds. So we got kind of lucky there to be alive, honestly. Um, yeah. He did absolutely murder the Horde as we kind of expected. But the Brute held on, which is a good thing. It's a nice thing. And he did get a down here. I forget if I glossed over it. Yeah, so he was able to get a flank because of me backing up. So he has a flank on this unit, and he definitely murdered it and overran to that position there. Or did he murder it? No, he didn't murder it. He just did some damage to it. So what happened was, though, the claw shots on the far left ran forward because I don't really have any good shooting targets anymore. My thought is if I run them forward on turn 5 here, turn 6, put them here, maybe turn 7, they can get like the top right quarter. So these guys only took 3 wounds, but they were able to withdraw and pivot in such a way that they are taking a front charge here now. And then these guys just sidestep further to the right to be able to get into the bottom right corridor. Yeah, so my turn. Center's moving over towards the left, but maintaining in the center. The Horde is now scoring on the opponent's side. I took a rear charge with this Broodmother into these guys. We did Cloak of Death did a wound, so they were at 12. Cloak of Death did a wound. I did 1 wound from the rear. So he's up to 14 wounds, and I roll a Snake Eyes. Ah, it hurts so bad. It hurts so bad. So Snake Eyes, I think he was rallied, so I needed a 3 to waver, and a 5 twice to kill. But yeah, it's just I feel like it's the story of every game so far where we've been held up on one unit that's just been almost devastated, for a couple turns in a row, and it's just still alive. It's still alive. So yeah, so it's unfortunate. Um, anyway, so we did kill the troop of Thule. We had flanked with Mother Kryza, overran to this position, which can't really tell, but unfortunately, Mother Kryza's. So I overran because I knew this unit wasn't wavered, so they could easily have flanked her. Which, if I just turned and looked, that's probably just fine. Yeah, I don't know why I didn't do that. So I could have easily just turned and looked at this unit, keeping her alive, but instead I overran. And it looks like it puts her in a fine position, but the actual issue is that she isn't overlapping here. So basically, the Trident, the Kraken here can do a 90-degree pivot, move straight this way, and connect with her in the flank. So yeah, exposed her flank to the Kraken at this point. Um, so yeah, not ideal. Bad play, bad positioning there with the Mother Kryza. So um yeah, so this is how it looks, bottom of 5. I did shoot and waver this little individual last turn with the weapons team. And then from there, I did not do a wound to the Pond Wanderer Warden, so he flew over the top, hit him in the rear. He hit the flank of Kryza. He countercharged the Brood Mother, and instead of going into the flank again, which, believe me, if I could, I would have turned, but I don't have the ability to withdraw. Although now that I think about it, they actually changed that in the rules in Clash of Kings. So learning moment for all of us here. If you're engaged in the flank, you don't actually have to withdraw. You can just simply pivot. And the rules now allow you to end within an inch of the enemy unit that has charged you from a single front or a single flank. Or, sorry, single flank or a single rear charge. You are allowed to now just simply do a pivot. What this intent is for those people that aren't playing withdraw rules. It allows you to not just be wavered and unable to do anything and have to take another flank charge again for no silly reason. Uh, so I could have implemented that rule here, face the Trident King, but obviously he had the ability to nimble around, get the rear of this unit anyway, so it really wouldn't have mattered. But still good to know your options. And then the Pond Wanderer over here, Pond Warden, he charged. He finally killed that unit. Yep. And then all 2 of those units died. The Broodmother did live, thankfully. Um, yeah, and the Rat Regiment did die as well. So this is how it looks going into, or I think this is after movement for my 6. Um, yeah, so movement on my 6. So my movement, I move these guys up a little bit. Actually, I think this is into Adam's turn even. So I move these guys up a little bit again in a position where they can at the double get the top right for turn 7 if that happens. These guys are just within the 24 inches on the right hand side, taking a front charge. So just holding the line here, keeping him out. My horde is actually majority in the center top, and Tangle is in the majority bottom right now. So um, and then these rats are in the bottom left. This guy's in the top left. Yeah, and then my shooting. Yeah, what I ended up doing is I don't trust a brood mother on a counter charge to be able to kill the guys up here. So I actually just pivoted and moved, and then I shot at them instead. Um, yeah, and I finally killed them. Woohoo! We did it. I also had a what's called uh, mind fog to do on them as well if the shooting from this thing failed. But it did a wound, which is enough for Snake Eyes twice, and so instead I weakness the Kraken to keep the shock troops alive. I also popped plague pods because the Kraken and these 2 guys were all looking at the rats, the shock troops that turn. So, with plague pots up, though, Adams decided that no, charging that's not the way. So yeah, basically, I have the bottom left, I have the top center, I had the bottom center, and I had the bottom right on my turn. So Adam had to maneuver with his units on bottom of 6 to get the most points. So what he did was he set himself up. He had the Pond Wanderer charge here into the unit strength 2 unit holding the bottom left. He moved 1, 2, and he has his 3rd unit strength in the bottom center to my 1, 2, 3. So he's neutralizing this and holding the top left. So right now, Adam has 1 zone, and I worth 1 point, and I have 2 points, a 3rd point, and a 4th point. Right? Yeah, 2, 3, 4. Yes, that's what I have. So it's 4-1 right now, but he can possibly kill a couple of my units and make it a much closer game here. Yeah, turns out 2 wounds on them, and he, 5 attacks from this guy is enough to make it. I was inspired as well, so he got a good nerve roll at the end here. He picked up that unit, so it brings it instead of a 4-1, it's now a 3-1 for scenario play. And then I don't have a picture of it, but he actually did also kill this troop here. Um, and his overrun didn't matter because if he overruns, he gains this quarter, but he gives up this one because he only has 2 unit strength to my 3 here. So this third unit strength is preventing me from scoring the bottom center. So yeah, so he brought it back at the very end there to a very tight game. Final score was 2-1, and that's where it ends. There was no turn 7. So yeah, extremely tight game, very close. I'm not sure if we go another round if it actually matters. Um, because what I likely end up doing is this brood mother would go to the bottom left, this unit would go to the top right. Neither of those are able to be charged. Well, he could charge his little individual into uh, the brood mother, but I don't think that matters. And then yeah, and then I maintain the same situation here. Yeah, and I think I still win because his Kraken is worth 2, so he'll have the top left. We'll say he moves this here. He'll have the bottom right. I He could move one guy out here to negate, but I have that and that. So he has 2 for sure. I have 2 for sure because unit strength 4 shock troops is not something he's going to overcome. Yeah, so I think turn 7 I win it as well, just because I don't think he has enough to be able to take off any of my unit strength, because I'll protect the tangle and everything. So yeah, very close game. I thought I was definitely in trouble when I lost a horde of shock troops on turn 1, but similar to my game against Joe, I think the shooting really just saved me this game, and that's what I've kind of learned with this army is that I need to not necessarily rely on shooting, but I need to play much more defensively with the army and just allow the shooting to have more opportunities. So I think I was giving up way too many charges, especially multi charges into shock troops when I don't really need to, especially early on in the game, turn 1, turn 2. I need to just put myself in better positions where I have counter charges, where I have counter play if the opponent's going to come into my lines. And I just need to allow the shooting to do its work over the game. Uh, Outside of the Abyssals in game 1, none of the other armies had wound recovery mechanics. So I really need to just allow for that shooting to pile up, and then eventually the shock troops are just going to be so difficult to kill after my opponent loses, some key pieces out of their army that they can take over the game later on and use their unit strength for. Uh, Versus the other way around, where I feel like I was losing the big shock troop units early on and relying then on the shooting that I was protecting to make the difference to win the game. So yeah, learned a lot with the list. I think seeing it, playing it. Like I said, I had 2 losses my first 2 games. First time that's happened a while, but I looked at it as after those 2 practice games that I had, I went undefeated this weekend, 3-0. So happy to come back, climb out of the hole that I was in, and get to a position I think I finished ninth in battle, or tied for ninth, or tied for eighth, something like that, with a 3-2 record and 45 players. That is exceptionally well in the end. I'm very happy with that result. I also learned that I need to have either practice games or experience with the Army going into an event if I want to perform, well. I'm I know I know people that can pick up any Army and play it, to a very high competitive level just out of the gate. Travis, my clubmate and best friend, is absolutely that way. Where it doesn't matter. He picks it up. He picks up new games too, and he just wins. It's frustrating to say the least. I'm the opposite. I need the practice. I need I need to have time to come up with the strategies to perfect them, to actually get my hands on it. So I guess what I'm trying to say here is, for everybody watching, I apologize for the low quality of play this tournament. I made several mistakes, and I hope that me making those mistakes will help you guys not have to make them in the future. Um, but yeah, I appreciate everybody that was watching. Um, as a recap for the tournament, I don't have the scores here, but I know Chet Dudig from the Mid Atlantic won the overall for the event. He was playing a Kingdoms of Men list. And then I believe Ray Shields finished Best Battle, if I'm not mistaken. I believe he was second overall, right behind Chet. Um, yeah, and so there was several good players that we didn't even get to play against because we were mediocre at best for most of the events. So congratulations to them. Also, Rob, Allison, for running a great event. I had a lot of fun, and it's great to be able to travel and have such good events to travel to. Also, for the Nerdhammer guys that helped me out, especially Alan Beener for picking me up and dropping me off at the airport, as well as let me crash in the hotel and at his house on Sunday night. Big, huge shout out and thanks to him. I think one of the great things about Kings of Wars, we have awesome communities, and are able to really build some awesome friendships, and be able to travel the country and the world to play this awesome game that we've got going, and just meet these awesome people. So really appreciate that, and those guys. So anyway, that's enough, sappy time for me. I appreciate everybody that watches the channel. If you haven't, would appreciate you subscribing. I do have a tournament this weekend. By the time this comes out, I will already be playing, I believe, day 2 of my Kansas City GT tournament. So you're going to get some more battle reports to come. And I am planning on playing some Night Stalkers. So they should be better quality of play. So hope you guys look forward to that. Anyway, I'll catch you guys on the next one.